Hi, this is Zena Krogadal. Thank you for joining us today on American Dreammakers. I have a special guest today and I can't wait to introduce him. But first, let me play my intro video. Here we go. I am back. Thank you again for joining American Dreammakers. I am so excited to introduce Israel Duran. He is in high demand as a business growth partner, speaker, trainer, where he focuses on empowering his students, clients, and partners in the areas of business, money, and speaking. As an inspirational speaker, Israel has empowered thousands of purpose-driven entrepreneurs all over the world. His vision is to help purpose-driven leaders leverage their expertise and knowledge to create and scale profitable businesses that impact individuals, businesses, and the world. And so here I am going to bring on Israel. Hi, Israel. How are
Hey,
you
Zeta,
today?
I am doing very well. It's great to be with you guys.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on the American Dreammakers. We are so excited for you to share all about yourself. So let's get started. Tell us about yourself and why you do what you do. Give us some background and how
Yeah.
you came into your business and all that.
Well, first off, I mean, I want to just say this. American Dream Makers is a great name because I believe that those that have a dream will actually come true. If you have a dream, it's going to come true if you make and take the conviction. And that's really what I would like to start with to explain about who I am and what I've done, because I've had a dream as well. And growing up, I always knew I was alive for a purpose. I didn't know for what purpose that was, but later on in life, I understood that it had to do with entrepreneurship, serving people in their area of business, and helping them to really identify their gifts and serve it to the world. And, anytime people ask me that question, like, tell me about yourself, I like to share my history because it creates a level playing field. Because sometimes people talk to people that have been successful or have done things, and it feels like maybe they're unreachable or untouchable. But no, I'm touchable, right? I'm probably an exception in terms of my upbringing. And if I can do what I'm doing, anybody can. So I just want to encourage everybody with that up front. And we could dive a little bit more into my story to kind of explain how my dream came true. But if you have a dream and you go after it with conviction, it will come true.
That's great encouragement. And yes, please let's dive into your background. So give us a glimpse of what has inspired you to do what you do.
So you see my dad over here in the background right here. It's my dad. This is who I speak about on my TEDx. And my father actually passed away at 29 years old of a massive heart attack. So growing up, I was only about 3 months. I never got an opportunity to know my dad. But in life, I discovered that it was actually a blessing for me because it put me in a position where I didn't have identity. I didn't know who I was, and I wasn't clear on my purpose. But growing up, I had an experience that happened to me at the age of 7 where I actually drowned in the pool in a place called Monte Cristi, Dominican Republic. And that experience is what marked me to understand that I was alive for a purpose. And then growing up in life, I later discovered through a series of, mistakes, mentors, and obviously my maker, that I was kept alive to be able to be a father figure to others, to be able to be a mentor to others, to be able to help others unlock their intrinsic gifts and values and release it out to the world. And that's really what I do now is I'm a bridge. People, they use me, they walk on top of me, not in that way, to help them get to where they want to be. Because I'm a big believer that if you have a gift, it's your responsibility to share it with the world.
Wow, what an intense story to have experienced basically death at the age of 7. Do you mind expounding on that just a little bit more?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's what's crazy is I went there about less than a year ago and I took a video of the place where I actually drowned. and it's exactly how I left it. What had happened was my sister had lost an earring inside of the pool, and I jumped in trying to get it, and I didn't know how to swim, so I jumped in and I was drowning, and I drowned. And to be honest and transparent, my soul came outside of my body. I was not in my body. I was clinically or physically dead, as they say, and my soul was going very, very fast, very rapidly, at this faster than the speed of light, to where the throne room of God was. At least that's what was in my mind. And there's people that have different belief systems and all that. I'm just telling you what I lived through, my history. And I got to tell you, Zena, that when I was in this experience, I felt the love of a father. I felt the love of the Father. I felt peace. I felt embraced. I felt safe. I felt secure. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't scared. And that may sound weird, like I was dying, but I was, not afraid. And that's what happened to me. And all of a sudden, I'm back into my body. A man had jumped into the water and pulled me out. And I'm trying to gasp for air. And I turn around to see who it was. And there was no one to be found. And it was at that moment that I was trying to find the guy to say thank you to him, because, I wanted to just say give him a hug, and be an appreciation, but I wasn't able to do that. So what it did, it deposited something in my heart to say thanks to God. And I just remember just being thankful. And I felt from that day I was different. I felt that there was something special inside of me. I couldn't pinpoint it like I was sharing, but then later on in life, things started to be unlocked and revealed, and I started to get clarity on who I was, my identity, and my purpose, and my God-given calling and destiny. And I'm thankful that I wasn't taken at that age, because if not, I wouldn't have been able to, first off, have the children that I have now. I have 4 children, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, Jessica. And I've been able to be a blessing to my family and my mother, who, again, that's why I have a lot of respect for single women, because a lot of people, they like to disrespect single women and orphans, but they don't know what they go through. I mean, my mother was left a widow, and I saw some things that I wouldn't wish on anybody. So my mother remarried later on. I do have a stepfather, but for those of you that maybe have gone through a similar experience, having a stepfather is not the same as not having your biological father in your life. But now I'm able to employ my mother through my business as well, my businesses. And I've been able to be a blessing to my mom and my family financially. And it's just a rewarding life. So I share to everyone, like, it doesn't matter what you're going through, what you've gone through, persevere. There's hope on the other end. It just requires a change of mindset, the right tool set, and then the right skill set in order to actually manifest your dreams.
Wow, that's great. So how old were you when you lost your father?
I was about 3 months.
You were 3 months. So you were just an infant. So you never got to know your biological father at all then. Wow.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow. And then how old were you when your mom remarried?
She remarried roughly when I was about 5 to 7.
Okay.
I want to say 5 to 7 because it's one of those ages. But here's the beautiful thing, or here's the beautiful thing now, but it wasn't then, is that I didn't accept my stepfather as my father until I was about 20 years old. See, that's the thing. And this is me being transparent, I never actually accepted him as my dad, because inside of my heart, all I wanted was to sit down with my biological father, and I butt heads a lot with my stepfather when I was growing up. I had a problem with men's authority, and I'm thankful for it, because it's given me a unique insight on how I can relate to others that maybe are still going through the same thing. Like, for example, we also volunteer into the prison systems. And, a lot of the men in the prison systems that we've mentored or helped, typically they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Some of them are even, in there for 100 years, 500 years. They're never going to get out. But I have had a privilege of being able to be like a father to them. Even I'm talking about people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and being able to be used as someone to like bring healing. And I would not be in that position of doing that effectively if I didn't go through what I went through as a young boy. So everything happens for you in life.
And it sounds like that moment was a very defining moment. I mean, you were 7 years old, and many say that that is the age of accountability, when we become very aware of knowing right from wrong. And so that is so interesting that that God had allowed this experience in your life at that particular age, in that moment. uh, and so it sounds like it just really shaped you. And as you grew up, at what point did you know that you really had a purpose and a message for others?
I love the question. It was when I got into a car accident that really turned the light bulb on for me. I got into this car accident. My second daughter, Annabelle, was born 4 days prior. And this is a freak accident. It was either I was going to be dead, paralyzed, or injured, right? But I came out with a scratch here and a little scratch here. I came out untouched. And when I came out of the car accident, I have the license plate here in my office, and I talk about it on my TEDx as well. That's why my back is turned right there. If you know, I reveal it. It's all part of the message. But when I came out of that car, I heard literally a voice tell me, "It's time to release what I put inside of you." So, literally, within 2 days from that car accident, I started my third business. Now I have multiple businesses, many with different partners. And I launched my first book in 2 languages within 3 weeks, a book that was supposed to be released a year and a half later. That book has opened doors for me that no amount of money could have potentially bought. And this is why I tell people that your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men, but you got to get out of your own way. So that car accident was actually the catalyst that got me to finally let go of all the fear, all the things that set us back from actually going out there. And you know, the Bible says the wicked fleeth when no one pursueth, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. And that car accident kind of got me out of my comfort zone. And for lack of a better, description, my life was changed because I felt that I was given borrowed time, and I felt it was like a confirmed, like, hey, you should have been gone on the age of 7, but just in case you don't understand what's going on here, let me give you another little experience so you can know that this is the season, right? And that's the way I took it. And like I said, it's been history ever since, and it's been amazing. So I say that to say, if you're going through something right now, you're comfortable, and there's something that you need to release. There's a system, there's a gift, there's a business that you have, there's a nonprofit you need to launch, there's a project that you need to scale, and you haven't done it. I urge you, I encourage you to get out of your own way and release it to the world. Because if there's purpose behind it, life is going to happen for you to get you uncomfortable. And this is why COVID happened to a lot of people, to push them into their uncomfortable zone so they can finally release the things that they've been planning on for years. And this is the season.
Wow. Thank you so much. That is an incredible encouragement. And those are two very extreme things that happened to you. How old were you when the car accident happened?
I was about 24, okay. 25. Yeah.
So, yep. So a little bit ago. I know you're not much older than 25, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's what's funny is most people that speak to me, they say, you 35? Are you 38? I had some guy one day, I had to check my hair because I said, wow, is it that bad? I had somebody say, you're 43. I'm like, wow, not 43 yet. I am, and there's nothing against being 43, but I'm actually 30 years of age, 30 years young.
That's really remarkable, because in 5 years, you've been able to launch a business, because I know you are a very successful businessman. So take us back a little bit here. What were you doing prior to that accident?
So I've been in business for about 7 years. Okay. But the car accident, so here's what happened, right? With the car accident, I had 2 businesses on the side. The first company I started was a cybersecurity consulting firm, because I wanted to work for the FBI. That's why I got my master's in cybersecurity, got my my master's in cybersecurity and my minor in sociology and my degree in criminal justice. And I got my master's degree because I was in a like an incubator program for the government, and they brought us all these federal agents, you name it, from the DEA to Homeland Security, and then an FBI agent came and spoke, and I was really intrigued with the FBI agent. His name was John, and he kind of gave an encouragement. He said, "Hey, if you want to get in the bureau, we're looking for people in cybersecurity." And when he said that to me, it was like a connection happened, and something said to me, "You got to go and get your degree." So that was my intention of going to get my master's. I was going to go to the FBI. So when I came out, I got married, all of this, I had children. So then I didn't want to go to the FBI anymore because I didn't want to go to the government because they send you anywhere they want. So I went to the private sector. And that's an important distinction because, again, life happens for you. Sometimes you have a plan, but then you walk in the plan and then the plans are redirected, right? So I had that business. I also had another business, a real estate company, still have it, and real estate investment, stuff like that. And it was going well. And I was also working, a very good, job, consultant with a consulting firm, leading a whole security operations center. So I had all of this happening, but I knew God was calling me to go full time. Like it was clear, but I was comfortable, and this car accident came again to get me out of the comfort zone and to get my attention. And there's a lot of people that were comfortable with COVID, and COVID came and boom, they lost their job or something happened. And then now they're starting to do the thing that they were supposed to do 10 years ago. So, it's all about perspective. Like, I want to give an encouragement. God is ministering to me right now. There's a woman that's listening to this recording right now, and you're going to see this right now, that suffered a lot of loss. And I want to say this to you. Those that sow in tears shall reap in joy. Before there's an increase, there's always a decrease. So rejoice. Be happy. Don't start to celebrate because things are about to go to a whole nother level. This is how I flow, by the way. So if you're somebody listening right now and that's for you, comment in the chat. So these are the things that happened to me. Now, before I got to my car accident, I was making a lot of money. Doesn't compare to what I was making now, but I was making good money, and that's why I was comfortable. And there's a lot of people that reach a certain level of success and then they get comfortable. They say, well, no, I already have everything I need, so I'm just going to hang around. And that's the most selfish thing that someone can do. Entrepreneurs are not just here to just make money for themselves. We entrepreneurs, we dream makers, we go after a dream, but we're the ones that pump the money, pump the blood through the society. If we entrepreneurs and real estate people and people that are investors stop doing what we do, this economy is going to go down. So I encourage you, woman that's an entrepreneur, man that's an entrepreneur, and you may be struggling right now, or you may be looking to get into entrepreneurship, continue to go forward. It's worth it. You are needed. You are needed. And there's people that are waiting for you at the end of your trial. There's people that are literally praying for you. They're praying for the solution that you carry. So this is why you have to go through. And it's not your season to die yet. There's still some more. There's still life. Don't listen to any diagnosis. Man, this ministry gift I have, Zena, I try to turn it off, but I can't. Because as I'm speaking, I literally see things. And there's someone here that's also listening that's discouraged because they received a diagnosis. It's not your time to die yet. Take that diagnosis, throw it aside, and believe God's word. Believe that you're healed. Believe that you're set free. And go after that with faith. Because this diagnosis is not supposed to let you down. It's an attack, but that's going to produce a higher and a weightier level of glory for you.
That is so awesome, Israel, that you are so connected to the Lord, that the Holy Spirit just ministers to you so well, and you hear his voice and you can speak it. And what an amazing gift. So I love that you just let it flow wherever you're at. And so what an encouragement that is for the person that message was for. I'm sure that it is very deeply I'm sure there's processing through it for sure. And yes, if you guys are on here, please share this out. Israel is an amazing man. I mean, can you believe it? 30 years old, and the knowledge and the wisdom he has. He's on this show right now. He literally is a very, very busy, successful businessman, but yet he's taking time out to be on American Dream Makers to share his heart and his passion with you. So share this out, get his message out. There's somebody else that may not even be watching this live that it may minister to as well and may be life changing. So please, because God really does work in ways that we don't understand. Israel, I really love the passion that you have. And so that car accident was the trajectory to change things up and put things on super speed. You
Yes.
had this sense of urgency because you wrote several books in a short amount of time. It was all inside of you. You just never put it out there until that moment, right? So
Yes.
as you're going along, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. So you were in cybersecurity. What is your business at right now?
Yeah, so I have a few businesses now, but my main focus, what I'm known for, people call me the impact architect. And what we do is we sit down with visionaries and we help them build, launch, and scale their businesses primarily online. And, when it comes to delivering your gift to the world or whatever your product or service is, there's typically 3 steps that you have to take. And that first step is a discovery phase. So we have a phrase that we say, we help visionaries discover, design, and deliver their gifted solutions to the world.
Amazing. Amazing. And so you have a team of a lot of people working with you, under you, partnered up with you.
Yeah, yes, I have a team. I don't have anybody that works for me, and I love that you made that distinction. I have people that work with me, right? And I'm a leader, and I'm there to serve them. This is the incredible thing about when you grow a business past, 7 figures. It will drive you to become the best version of yourself, and it will drive you to become a leader. At least if you want to grow a sustainable business. And our team is known as the Impact Architect team, and we have some incredible people on our team that are, you know, I'm 30, but most of the people on my team, this is not, maybe some of my team members are watching this, are going to be watching this. Most of the people on my team could be my fathers, literally. But if you ask them, I'm like a father to them as well. So it's funny, like how things come full circle because this ministry, most of the people I minister, they're in between their 50s and 60s and 70s. Those are the people that literally are like the people that I'm typically like helping. And then in business, it's the same thing. Yeah, typically the people we work with are like in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So go figure.
Well, and that's interesting that you point that out. So 40s, 50s, and 60s. And you're probably about the youngest one, right? And you're leading, which is amazing. And the reason why you're leading is because you obviously have, I can see, completely surrendered to the Lord, the Holy Spirit, and has empowered you. And so you have the wisdom and the knowledge because you've surrendered that part of your life. And so for those who are beginning and starting out, like for myself, I'm just beginning to awaken to understanding the purpose that the Lord has given me. And it's okay. And so there have been times that I've been like, well, why did it take so long? Why couldn't I have learned, started this 15 years ago? And
Yeah.
and so for me, it was, hey, but you weren't ready 15 years ago. But look at you, Israel. You were ready at the age of
This is
25.
this is your season now. This is your season now. And not to interrupt you, but I hear the Lord saying, this is your season now. A matter of fact, what you're doing now is the evidence of where you're going to be headed. Like everything's happening for you. So be encouraged. And, you know, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord shall deliver out of them all. And that's the word for you. You shall be delivered out of from everything, you and your family. So be encouraged and go forward. Go forward. Amen. So I
Amen.
want to give you that word because I see it in the spirit, and I just want to confirm what you already been praying.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. That's awesome. So awesome. So now that I got to pull myself together and keep going here, that's a very, very, very emotional confirmation, and I really appreciate that so much. So as you're moving in your business, you have a very successful business. You're surrounded by some fantastic people. It sounds like you have to have grown the business 7 figures. Tell me, how important is connecting to people in the successes of that?
It's everything. I was speaking on another podcast yesterday. It's called the Self-Employed Podcast with Jeffrey Shaw, and me and him were talking about the same principle of like, typically when a business gets to $250,000 a year, that's typically where the issues start to occur, which is essentially 20 to 30 grand month to month. There's a switch that needs to happen, and because the things that got you there are not the things that are going to get you past the 500,000, the 3/4, the 7 figures, the 2 million, 3. In each stage of growth, there's a part of you that needs to, for a lack of a better word, be left behind. And to be blunt, needs to die, right? And this is the challenge with entrepreneurs, because typically people that are self-employed, they go after their business, they're coming with the mindset of typically an educated mindset in terms of college, or they were an employee their whole life. So that's the mindset that they have. So when they go into business and they start to see they're making 10, 20 grand, 30 grand, when they get to that point where now, okay, my time is being sucked, I can't fulfill everything. Now there's some growth that's needed as a leader inside of that person, and clarity to be able to bring on the people that they need to train them and delegate. And there's nothing else that will help you grow, like you're saying, than connecting with people and allowing people to actually serve you and wash your feet, for a lack of a better phrase, for those of you that know the analogy in the Bible. So this is the challenge, because unless you surrender and you're open to grow, you either stay stagnant or you get frustrated. You have one experience, one bad experience with somebody else, you throw in the towel, and then now there's some delay. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm reminded of Jeff Bezos. A lot of people don't know this story, but Amazon should have gone bankrupt many times. And also Elon Musk with his rocket business. But they have a conviction, and that's the number one key that I would say to succeed as an entrepreneur, is being able to be open to connect with others with a conviction, and like having the heart to also letting people serve you, because this is going to be for someone. And by the way, what I was said earlier, that's definitely for somebody as well that's going to watch the recording. So just so you could be confirmed. The most hypocritical thing a coach can do, let's say you're a coach, is not have a coach yourself. The most hypocritical thing a pastor can do is not have a pastor themselves or an apostle themselves. The most hypocritical thing a doctor can do is not have a doctor themselves. Why? Because you're attempting to sell something that you have not become yet, because you don't receive help from somebody else. So most people think receiving help from somebody else will actually limit them, but actually it's going to empower them, and it's actually going to help them to do more of what they're doing. And it comes down to what you just said, not understanding the importance of connecting with other individuals, building relationships, and having a heart of humility, and not only of service, but also allowing people to serve you.
I love that you bring up that letting other people wash your feet, because many Christians, we know we are to serve others and we're to put others first. But we have a really hard time letting other people wash our own feet. So can you give us some tidbits on how we can overcome that aspect? I mean, how do we sit down long enough not serving to allow somebody else to wash our feet, so that we can also be elevated, but yet that person is elevated at the same time? I feel like it's a synergistic thing.
100%. I love your questions, and I love your heart, because I can tell that you value the things of God, and you value the spiritual things, and the things that are spiritual are being open to you at another level for you and your family. And there's going to be a higher level. And I'm just going to say something to you that only you and your husband will understand. This is for you. This is a parable. but there's going to be dimensions in the spirit that are going to be open to you that are going to allow you to see things before they even happen. And people are going to be like, well, how do you know that? It's because God's going to give you that discernment because of your heart and your openness. And there's going to be a double portion for you. So the way I'm going to answer that question, because you're on here, is I'm going to give you a gem, a secret that I don't share with everybody, but I'm going to gift it to you, and everybody else that's on here is going to be able to be blessed by it if they choose to listen. So a great example is Peter, right? I always tell people this. The number one P that will keep you from determining or unlocking your purpose is pride. Pride is the number one enemy that will limit you from reaching and ultimately accomplishing your destiny. So a tip or a tad bit that I can help someone else to let go of that would be this. Peter was sitting down, and Jesus, the Messiah, said to him, Peter, I have to wash your feet. This is in the book of in the Gospels. And then Peter said to Jesus, he said, absolutely not. I'm paraphrasing. You're not going to wash my feet. It's not going to happen. I got to wash your feet. And these words are what I say to you. This is what Jesus said to Peter. He said, Peter, if you don't let me wash your feet, you have no part in me. You have no place in me. Now, that word part and place is the word that's connected to impartation. In other words, what is impartation? Impartation is to become one with something. In other words, the Son of God, God in the flesh, was saying to a human being, his creation, that if you let me wash your feet here, I'm going to become one with you. We're going to be one. Peter understood the revelation, and he said, wash my feet, my hands, and my head, implying that he understood what Jesus said to him, and he humbled himself. Most people in the world system, unfortunately, and when I say the world system, I'm talking about the spirit of the power of the prince of the power of the air that controls the world. And I'm not talking about animals. And God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, John 3:16, that whosoever believeth in him, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, should not perish but have everlasting life. So I'm not talking about the world and the creation and people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bondage, the system of slavery, the system of prison that, for those of you that don't believe this, but it's the reality, Satan, the prince of the power of the air, controls a lot of things in the world. And people sometimes get deceived and think that it's of God, but it's really not of God. That's why you have to discern and you have to test the spirits. Okay. But most people, they walk in pride because that's how they were programmed. And they don't realize that that pride is actually keeping them back from receiving what's rightfully theirs. And that's why a lot of people live in frustration, because they don't have identity. And if you don't have identity, you won't know your purpose, and you will definitely never be able to let go of that pride. You cannot do it in your own strength. You need God's help. Okay. Now, here's the reality. Most people have what we call the funnel hacking mindset. And I love Russell Brunson, by the way. I love Click. I'm connected to them. But that mindset is a mindset that typically helps people walk in dishonor, because they'll go to your funnel and try to copy what you're doing. But here's the beautiful thing about how God set things up. You can copy the letter, but you can't copy the spirit. The spirit only comes through relationship, through conversation, through breaking bread, through allowing someone else that has already done what you want to do serve you, wash your feet. And it's going to take some humility to be able to receive the impartation that you will need to walk out your destiny. Now, I know I just went in like a 360, foundation building there, and I went into some different areas, and I hope you guys followed me. But this was really for you, Zena, and your husband. So.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. Hi, Jose. Thank you for being on here, Jose. We definitely missed that Turn It Up event with you. It seems so long ago, but thank you for sharing.
Yes, good to see you on here, Jose.
I really appreciate you sharing that with me. That definitely hits home, and certainly for sure, and I know as a Christian we do. I do struggle with allowing other people to help because, oh, no, 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 it's okay. I'm so used to serving. And so you're right. I mean, that is something the Lord has been working on and teaching and humbling for sure. So that is fantastic. The other question I would have, so as you're growing your business, and yes, we look at numbers, we look at six figures, seven figures, and we talk in numbers, but in God's economy, it's really not about the numbers, is it, Israel?
It's all about the stewardship. The reality is that I don't own anything. I don't own any of my businesses. I don't own well, I'm married to my wife. We're one, but that's my children. My children are not even mine. They're mine, but they're really God's. I'm just stewarding them. And all the money, the resources, the houses, all of that stuff, I'm just stewarding it. I'm a manager. The word steward is the word that's connected to back in the day when people had a lot of resources, they would bring on an almer or a steward to help manage the resources of that person or that family. So the way I see my life is like that. Everything that I possess, I am just managing it. I'm just, stewarding it. I'm investing it for God's profit. And one day I'm going to hand it off to my children's children, and other people that God has prepared for. So I'm very clear, in terms of what like my assignment. But a lot of people they struggle with that. They think that they're going to take things with them when they leave. You're not taking anything with you when you leave, nothing at all. So it's very important to have a succession plan, right? Joshua in the Bible is a very powerful man. There's a scripture that says when Joshua was speaking, for those of you that know the story or the history, Joshua said these words, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord," which is great. We all say it, we all declare it. But the mistake that Joshua made is that he didn't bring a successor. He didn't prepare anybody else after him. Moses made sure that he had a successor, which was Joshua, but Joshua didn't have a successor. So there's a lot of people living today with that mindset of Joshua, which is a great mindset. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, but we will also train others to continue. And it might not even be in ministry. It might be in your business. It might be in, resources and assets that you have produced. Like, it's important to build those assets and leave an inheritance for your children's children. But it's also important to train your children and to train the people that are going to, essentially be there after you, so they can steward and they can also manage it. Because there's a great error that happens. And this is why people that think that you don't need God, you're not going to get the last laugh. Just the reality. Like, those that mock God, I feel sorry for them because they really don't understand. The Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge and wisdom. And there's a lot of people that have been storing up a lot. They've been storing up a lot, and just for them. But they don't see what's going to happen in the future generations. And God's looking at it and he's like, if they only knew. If they only knew that the next generation is going to waste what took them 20 years to build, they're going to waste it in 2 days. If they only knew. If you knew that the stuff that you're working so hard for right now, 20, 30, 50 years, 10 years, building up, that when you leave this earth, someone's going to destroy it in 2 days, would you work as hard for building up your assets? I would think that you wouldn't. You would really focus on hearing what heaven is saying to make sure that you stay in your assignment so you can leave an inheritance for your children's children. You can do the things, build your assets, buy back your time, which is extremely important. So you got to redeem the time. But for you to be in a position where your life's work is not in vain. And hear me when I'm saying this. I'm not here to accuse anybody or condemn you. I'm just bringing this up to you because how sad would it be that you spend the last 50, 20 years of your life building something up, and then you pass it out to the future generation that just wasted. And this is what happens. It happens more than often. So take heed to what I'm sharing with you today and take it as something that can help you, because it's not all about just you. God is a multi-generational God. He looks at things from beyond. If I can go deeper, because I don't share this typically because not everybody is worthy to hear this, okay? But because of using it, I'm going to release this here to this audience. When I died at the age of 7, that wasn't a man that jumped in and saved me. That was a man disguised as an angel, or an angel disguised as a man. No man is going to jump in and save a 7-year-old boy and disappear. That doesn't happen. If you're at a pool or a beach and you pull out a 7-year-old boy, you're going to go find their parents and say, here, your son just drowned, or you got to take care of your. There was none of that. So at that moment, there was an angelic encounter. And that same angel that saved me at the age of 7, that was sent by God, that same angel was there when I got into my car accident. And that same angel goes with me everywhere I go. Now, here's the thing. Multiple angels, by the way. I've had many angelic encounters. I share this because there's people under the sound of my voice that are going to allow heaven to speak to them. And they're going to align their life to heaven. And when I say heaven, I'm talking about the government of heaven. Jesus didn't come with religion. This is where people get things confused. He came with the kingdom of God. He came with a government. He's a king. He's the King of Kings. And when you understand that government and you allow that government to move into your business, oh my goodness, you're going to see supernatural activity, connections, relationships. I mean, guys, I can't even, my mind, sometimes I think I'm dreaming, if I could be honest, an American dream bank. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming with the conversations and people that I'm speaking with. I'm like, I would have never in a million years, an orphan child that died at the age of 7, didn't have his father, that was rebellion, that people thought I was either going to end up dead or in prison, which they were right about both things. I did die at 7 and I do go into the prison systems. And now things have changed.
Wow, Israel, that is so powerful. Christina, I agree. Very powerful stuff that you are sharing today. It is amazing, what can happen when you, like you said, tap into that. So can you help for those that are sitting there like, well, how do I tap into that? How do I tap into what Israel has? How does this happen?
So I always tell people the discovery stage is the most important stage. You have to discover who you are. And it's the hardest thing for people to admit because we are so great at helping others because that's our gift. But when it comes to helping ourselves, it's hard. Why? Because we're too close to ourselves. We have blind spots. That's why Israel Duran also needs mentors. Israel can't be objective with himself because he's too close to himself. So it's first making sure that if you need help, you seek for help. You read books, you get on podcasts like these and you seek out for assistance because that's the thing that's actually going to help you to unlock things. And I'm going to close with this because I feel led to share this. Joseph was a man. Joseph in the Bible. Sorry about that. Joseph in the Bible was 30 years of age when he was in prison. He was in prison for 12 years and he was presented before Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt at the time. And there was a big problem because Pharaoh had dreamed 2 dreams and he couldn't interpret the dreams. And they essentially called Joseph to go and interpret Pharaoh's dreams. And here's a 30-year-old boy that was in prison for 12 years, never delivered any nation from anything, but is presented before literally the greatest superpower in the world at the time. And with probably an under 15-minute conversation, maybe even less, was able to get Pharaoh to make an investment that was all of Egypt. Essentially, he pulled out his ring. He invested a ring, a gold chain. I mean, it was, you read the story, it's in Genesis 41. And there's people that now they struggle with what I call imposter syndrome. Like, Israel, but if I'm called to help people, I haven't helped anybody yet. How can I help people? And it's like, well, let me ask you a question. Did Joseph help another nation before he helped Egypt and save a whole nation? No, he didn't help them. He didn't help a nation before, but he had a gift. And he knew his gift. And he was trained. He was wise. He was trained. So when he got the opportunity to position himself, to present, to use his gift, he took it. And how sad would it be that life comes knocking on your door with an opportunity. Change your generation, break any generational curse, and change the financial future of your family. And you weren't prepared. How sad would that be? So get prepared.
Yes, that would be very sad. I definitely, when I get to heaven, I want to hear good, well done, good and faithful servant, not what happened. Had all these opportunities and you didn't take it. You guys, Israel Duran is an amazing guy, and you can hear he has just such a strong, pure heart for the Lord, and he's building businesses and helping you to live with excellence for the Lord. And it isn't about money, it is about serving people. His heart is about serving people. So if you want to know more about Israel and you want to partner up with Israel, or have him coach you, or whatever it is that you're needing, israelduran.com. I put it in the chat. Please be sure you definitely get a hold of him. We appreciate his time so much. Thank you, Israel, for joining us today. And I hope to have you back again another time, Israel. So thank you again for taking time out and really sharing your heart and sharing pieces of what the Lord has given on you today. So
yes, thank you for having me. It's been a blessing.
All right. We will chat later, and I'll just say goodbye for now. You guys, thank you so much for joining me here on American Dream Makers. What a powerful message Israel shared. So please absolutely share. If you've got questions, reach out to him. He's fantastic. So join us tomorrow on American Dream Makers. I got a special guest tomorrow. So see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. For now, goodbye.